Howdy, howdy, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to the Card Dungeon. So today we've got something extra fantastical for you here. Boom! Expert at the card table. Once again, we are deep diving into these magic books and we are providing you with some fantastic magic. Something to take a look at here. We have the amazing dragons because they fly so high, but of course, sometimes that can happen. There we go. Open that up. Boom. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and give the deck a nice little mix. Yes, very nice. Go with a nice little card here. That's going to be the Ace of Hearts. So why don't we take... Yeah, here we go. Boom. Very nice, very nice. Let's see here. We've got the Ace of Hearts. So why don't we... Here we go. Here we go. We're going to take the aces out of the pack. So we've got ourselves the 4 aces. I know, right? He's doing a 4 ace trick. Something must be wonky here. Okay. So the first thing we've got is we're going to be doing 3 aces here. 3 aces. Of course, we've got the old dragon. Look at this. The old dragon here. We've got a nice little ace going on back there. Very nice, right? So 3 aces. Here we go. First ace goes into the middle of the pack. Boom. Second ace, we're going to put that right on the bottom. Nothing fancy, right? The third ace is going to be right there on top. Now all we do, finish it with a simple cut. That's it. That is it. We snap our fingers. And now, all of the aces are together. Boom. Now, let's take a look here. So we've got the Ace of Diamonds, the Ace of Clubs, the Ace of Spades, and of course the last ace, which started this whole thing here. Let's see here, where is it? Where is it? There we go. Okay. Boom. Okay. Now I want you to take a look at this ace real quick. We've got the other aces right here. Okay. Now at this point you could sign it. You could do whatever you want with this one. However, whatever you want to do, you get it back and you say this. This is it. This is the end. This is the showdown, or whatever you want to call it. I only have one question. Top or bottom? It's a reasonable question. We're talking about where you want the card to appear next. Top or bottom? Okay, fine. Let's just say it's already on top, so let's do something magical, and we're going to make it go to the bottom. Yes, I know what you're thinking. You just turned it over. But of course, that is the bottom. And there you have a nice little 4 ace trick routine. Why don't we jump into it and talk about what we did here. Okay. So of course, if you're familiar with this, you're going to need an Omni deck. Or you can make one. You can just make a, you can just stick a deck of playing cards together and that works out pretty well too. So here's how this starts. You can have the aces, but for the sake of the trick, we're going to have the aces right there. But you can always get them out of the deck. Now, all you got to do is you got to force an ace, right? So if you want to force an ace, you can always do something like that and just say, okay, boom, let's go with this card right there, Ace of Hearts. Now, of course, we need to make all of the aces appear just like so. But for now, we're just going to use 3 aces. However you want to get into it. I use the Ace of Hearts because I want to bring attention back to that later. Okay? But that's our selected card. But what you're actually doing, now that we're getting into this fantastic trick right out of the Expert at the Card table, here is how it goes. Our routine started with you forcing an ace. Doesn't matter what it is, but I like the Ace of Hearts because that's what I have been doing a lot lately is the Ace of Hearts. So Ace of Hearts will be here. The Ace of Clubs, Ace of spades. I said those backwards. Ace of diamonds will go on the top. A little bit of a subtlety there, because what you're actually doing is you're taking these top cards. Now be careful, because you're using this really nice principle where you get to hide. Yep. Just like so. You're going to use the 2 black aces to hide the small pip in the corner, but still show the ace up top. And you're going to kind of shape it in such a way that it cuts off the 2 hump parts of the heart. So now it just looks like you've got the diamond and it's a red ace. Perfect, right? Now you're going to go ahead and close that up and put it back on here. Now you're all set up and you're 1 ahead. Always remember the 1 ahead principle. Any trick that allows you to be ahead, you want to be ahead and you want to just milk it, right? Because here we go. First card, it's a red ace. You're suspecting it's the ace of diamonds, ace of hearts. If you separated that ace of hearts from the beginning and gave it a little bit of distance, there's no reason for them to believe that it wasn't the ace of diamonds. That's going to go into the middle. Nothing fishy here. Now I know in the thing I did this, I normally do this, and I got to get away from that because I'm doing it all the time, and it just seems like I'm doing something magical. And maybe you can keep it. Maybe it works. I don't know. That's for you to decide. Now the next one, I'm not going to show them purposely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause and say, okay, so now we got the first one out of the way. I'm flashing it, but doing it in a nonchalant way as if I didn't mean to. I'm just kind of talking with my hands. This one is going to go to the bottom. Okay, and again, you're just showing the bottom. Now you're going to show the top one. Now the top one's going to be here. Okay, very nice. Everything is in its place where it belongs. A nice little cut. Boom. Done deal. Done deal. Now you flip it over. You can spread it out here. And you've got yourself 3 aces. 3 aces. Now, 3 aces in the center of the deck where you cut it, because if you got rid of the ace of hearts, that one's hidden somewhere in the pack. Usually it's somewhere towards the top or the bottom because of where you put it. If you're good enough to control it back to the top like I did in the performance, no. Not that I'm saying I'm good enough to do it, but just saying that it happened, and it just kind of works out because it's still at the top of the deck, and it kind of looks like, hey, he already had, here it is still at the top. It works because that's where it's at. But you got 1 ace on the top and 1 ace on the bottom, so when you cut it, it's going to automatically, boom, bring them together. That's an absolutely fantastic way to do that, and that is the trick, right? Because now you've got all 3 of your aces in the middle. Now you can go into another ace routine. You go into another 4 of a kind routine. As you can see here, I actually have 4 sevens because that's what I typically use my 4 of a kind for. So for this particular routine, the aces really work well, obviously, for this, because it's like brings in that effect. So now you're going to pull out the ace of hearts again because you want all your aces to stay together. Now you say, hey, we just used these ones, but let's go back to the ace of hearts. Now you're calling back to the ace of hearts. Now this is when you say, why don't you go ahead and take a look at this, make sure that it's still the ace of hearts. You know, whatever you want to do, make a joke, however you want to do it. Change it out for the Omni deck, get back the ace of hearts. Okay, and now here is my subtlety, right? Because I've already got the Omni deck for the punchline. Boom. I don't need to go crazy. I don't need to do anything spectacular. So what I like to do is I like to make a joke. So it says, do you want the card to appear on the top or the bottom? Because that's what we're doing, right? We're moving stuff around, kind of like an ambitious card. Great. It's just a joke because I've already got the setup. I'm already ahead. If they say, like I did in the routine, I kind of pushed it in that direction just to show you what I normally do. In that case is, you know, top or bottom, they say, haha, bottom. So I say, well, you're in luck because we are now on bottom. Now, if they don't notice right away, you know, if they think I just turned it over, there's twofold here, right? Because one, they're either going to get hit by the fact that I've replaced the deck and now they can see their card, or they're going to get hit by the joke, which is, you just turned it over. That's silly. But then they're going to get hit by the fact that it's see-through, which I normally use this with a see-through trick, as I like to call it. My trick is see-through. You can see through what I'm doing, all of that, and I kind of just layer it with that. Because one of the things, like, Scotty P, the Mid-Strength Magician. Absolutely fantastic. Go check him out. Great stuff. Okay, one of the things that he did, as well as I think Bob Possible, they kind of play around with the idea that because it's clear, you kind of want to, if you put your deck of playing cards near a glass, like a clear glass, then it's going to take on those properties, and that kind of works out really nice. I like that. In this case, all I'm doing is making a joke out of the fact that I turned over the deck and now it is the bottom card. Wonderful, right? If they say top, then you just give it a little bit of a shake, maybe do that twist thing again, okay, and then you can hold it up and say it is still on top, but of course it is the only card in the deck. Boom. And that's a great way, let's talk about this, that's a great way to utilize some really nice sleights as well as using a nice little gimmick tool, because you want to have tools in your toolkit that you're going to be able to be fluid with and have multiple different ways to use them. And I feel like this is a nice little trick that you can really go home and practice and just kind of figure out all the nuanced stuff to it, because the nice thing about it is that by forcing one of the aces, you can now bring the rest of the aces out to the table because they picked it. It's a force, obviously, and you can use whatever force you want. The two different forces that I typically use, the slip force, or you can use the bottom force, which very nice things there like that. And there are other ways to do it as well if you wanted to get even more fancy. You know, if you go into a slip force and then you spread out into something like that, so you slipped it down. Again, there's lots of ways that you can do it if I don't mess up. And now it's on the bottom, which doesn't make much sense. Anyway, just listen to what I'm saying. Don't do what I do. Wait, that's not right. Just kidding. Okay, so any force that you want to do, don't listen to that explanation. Sometimes I get into this like creator mindset where I try to like figure out how things work, and I'll reverse engineer ideas to figure out how the trick would, you know, figure out how I want it to look, and then just kind of figure out what I need to do in order to make it happen. So in this case, you know, you can force, I would prefer the Ace of Hearts since the trick requires the other three, or forcing the Ace of Diamonds and then switching it out for the Ace of Hearts. However you want to do it, but go into your nice little hidden principle here. Again, this is in Expert at the Card Table, the Three Aces, page 128, towards the end of the book where the tricks are. I absolutely recommend that you pick up the book. Absolutely recommend that you learn this trick, whether it be from me or other people. And why don't you set up a camera and just film yourself doing it and do all that fancy stuff. So this is just a nice little routine I came up with basically on the spot, just giving you that idea of that switching out kind of effect. Now, one of the other things that I like to do, and I probably won't tie it in because of the fact that I don't typically use the aces, but I do have a routine of using four of a kind. You know, I build on that and I do 3 different tricks wrapped into one. So that's really nice. But I also have, like, this is fantastic because this gives you a reason to bring out the 4 of a kind. So I have other tricks as well that I do that with, but they get pretty layered and they get pretty wonky. Not in a bad way, just like a really complex and technical way, because the way that I do things, there's a lot of ways to do things easier, and I don't necessarily do that because of the way that I kind of look at it. I just like to figure things out and learn new things, and as I learn new things, I figure out other ways to do things, and yeah. So let's just say that that's kind of what happens. But I hope you enjoyed the 3 Aces trick right out of the Expert at the Card Table. Go ahead and look online to see if you can find other tutorials on it. If you like this tutorial, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. We're going to do more stuff out of the books because we got card reviews coming. We want to do some magic stuff because we're talking magic theory. That's what we're talking about. We can do a full-on breakdown for this trick if you wanted to, but I think we're going to leave it here for today. So remember, always remember, stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And we will see you in the next one.